We were bearish on GBP USD last week, and we even placed a sell position on GBP USD. But right now, we've closed the sell position. What changed, you might ask? I will explain shortly. We'll also analyze Euro USD and AUD USD, so you should watch the end of this video. You don't want to miss it. Welcome to Xtaduk Capital. This is our weekly forex analysis, where we analyze the best forex pairs on our watch list that we believe will present the best opportunities for the week ahead. If you'd like to see more of these videos, subscribe to our channel, turn the notification on, and you'll be notified of our future videos. Now, let's go to the chart. You can see that GBP USD growth structure pulled back here and break structure to the upside, breaking this high, thereby making here this is a break of structure, and immediately this high was broken. This low becomes our strong low, and this high becomes our weak high. This becomes our demand zone. If I plot my fib from point A to point B, you can already see now that GBP USD growth structure is bullish. So now let's take it a bit further to show you what the substructure is doing. You can see that GBP USD substructure pulled back here and break structure to the downside, breaking this low. Okay, I will mark here to be our internal break of structure, and if I move this a little bit, this will be our internal strong high, and this will be our internal weak low, and here will be our supply zone. If I plot my fib from point A to point B, in as much as GBP USD pro structure is bullish, the substructure remains bearish. This was the reason why we were bearish on GBP USD last week. Okay, now let's show you the reason why we opened or we placed the sell position on GBP USD last week, before we now explain why we close out on the position. Okay, you can see that after the break of structure here, GBP USD substructure started moving up, and immediately tapped this supply zone. It shifted structure to the downside. Notice that there was a sweep of liquidity here. So if I mark this like this, there's a sweep here, because this was a break of structure. This was a break of structure, and this was a break of structure. Now the substructure changed character to the downside, and you can see the reason why we picked here to be our supply zone, and our entry was something like this. So this was our entry on GBP USD before we closed it. Okay, before we close the position. But let's explain to you why we made the decision to close out on this GBP USD sell. To explain this better, I'll have to bring you guys to DXY chart. So as at the time we placed GBP USD sell, DXY was trading somewhere at this level. Okay, but towards the end of last week, we got this big sell-off on DXY, because our anticipation was that DXY will come to some sort of demand zone here, then continue buying. Thereby, if DXY, which represent the USD, strengthens, then GBP USD will sell. Okay, but in this case, towards the end of last week, DXY sold off and broke structure to the downside, meaning that DXY now is heavily bearish, and maybe will make its way down to this discount zone of this demand zone before that buy will happen. So that explains why we close out on a GBP USD sell. And now, what are we anticipating on GBP? What do we expect to see on GBP USD going into next week? It's simple. What we're expecting now on GBP USD is for GBP USD to take out this high then pull back to this demand zone where we'll be more inclined towards buying GBP USD, okay, to be able to take out this internal strong high. That is one way. Or GBP USD can make its way to take out this high, okay, then pull back. It takes out this high. Now we'll be playing with this low versus the new high it will be creating. So it will pull back to some sort of demand zone here where we will be very glad towards allocate capital to GBP USD, somewhere like this. If it takes out, if the second one happens, we'll be allocating capital to GBP USD, somewhere like this. So these are the two ways we are looking to play GBP USD. Anything other than this will be staying out on GBP USD. Euro USD. As you can see that Euro USD pro structure pulled back here and broke structure to the downside, breaking this low, okay, thereby creating what? A break of structure. So now when this low was broken, this high becomes our pro high, pro structure high, and this low becomes our weak low. So this will be our supply zone. Now if I plot my fib from point A to point B, from what we've done so far, you can already see that Euro USD pro structure is bearish, okay, and we're supposed to be looking for what? Sells. But let's show you what the substructure is doing so that we will understand where we should be trading at the moment going into next week, okay. You can see Euro USD substructure pulled back here, swept all these lows and break structure to the upside, okay. Now this is a break of structure and this becomes our strong internal low. Then currently this is our weak internal high. So this will be our demand zone. And if I plot my fib from point A to point B. Now, in as much as Euro USD pro structure is bearish, the substructure is still bullish and also still at discount. And this is the best zone for us to be looking forward buys, as we believe that Euro USD should still make its way to the pro structure supply zone where we will now be able to look forward sell to the downside. How are we looking to get involved in Euro USD coming in next week? We will simply be expecting Euro USD to pull back to this demand zone, then where we'll be looking forward, where we'll be entering our position, a long position, to go to this high. That is what we are going to be targeting. You can see that AUD USD pro structure pulled back here and break structure to the upside, right? So this is a break of structure, and it also broke another structure here. Now after this break of structure, here becomes our strong low and this becomes our weak high. So this will be our demand zone. Now if I plot my fib from point A to point B, you can see already that AUD USD pro structure is bullish and the market has made its way to our discount zone where we should be looking forward buys. But let's show you what the substructure is doing so that we'll better understand where we should be looking for trades coming next week. So you can see that AUD USD substructure pulled back here and broke structure to the downside, okay. This is a break of structure, internal break of structure, and when this happened, this high becomes our internal strong high and this low our internal weak low. Then this will be our supply zone, and if I plot my fib from point A to point B, you can see already that AUD USD substructure is bearish in as much as the pro structure is still bullish. Now we are supposed to be looking for sales. As a matter of fact, we were bearish on AUD USD last week as well. So now let's show you what AUD USD is currently doing, the substructure is doing, so that we'll better understand how we'll be getting involved on AUD USD coming next week. You can see that AUD USD substructure pulled back here and broke this high, then give us a market structure shift. Or towards the end of last week, it broke structure to the upside again, breaking this high. Now, this is a break of structure. So now this is the low we are trading with, and this is the current high AUD USD has. Then what do we expect from AUD USD going in next week? We will be expecting AUD USD to pull back here at this demand zone and make its way to the upside to take out this strong internal high. Because for AUD USD to reject this market structure shift here, this entry opportunity present here, and break structure back to the upside. And you can also show you that DXY, the dollar index, is weak. So meaning all the major pairs most likely will be strengthened. So AUD USD as well, we are very bullish on AUD USD, just like GBP USD and Euro USD going into next week. So our entry will be looking something like this, and most likely we'll be targeting this high. There you have it. This is our best 3 pairs that we believe will present the best opportunities for the week ahead. If you've gotten any value and want to see more of these videos, leave a like to this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification button, and you'll be notified of our future videos.